Listen, that pitch dinner that had Robin here and Cristyl happened almost 3-4 episodes ago. And I am honestly getting worn out and I am so ready for the conversations to be over. My God. But let's get into it. So of course we ended off last episode with Robin and Quiana talking about the whole Cristyl situation, and then they transitioned the conversation to the problem Robin and Kira have together. So Robin felt like since her and Kira are in the same facility, she might as well talk about it, with her face to face. Now I feel like Robin could have talked with Kira at another time, specifically not at Tiffani's grand opening party, because her and Kira are like two attackers. And the conversation they're about to have is just too much to be having at someone's event. But I mean, this is reality TV, so this is what we get. So Robin called Kira in the room where her and Quiana was, and Robin was saying how Kira had a small brain. And see, no, Robin, that is what we won't do. She was already starting off with negativity. Now, before I keep going, let me just say, Kira has this type of raspy voice that I just love. And I never noticed it until this episode. But it adds more, flavor to her. But anyways, Kira was telling Robin how she's not the type of person to get angry easily. But in that moment at the pitch dinner, Robin didn't give her the benefit of the doubt when she was expressing her feelings about being unfollowed. She even said she brought it up to Cristyl and she was more polite than Robin. Like Cristyl was more polite than Robin. Now, to be honest, I don't think Cristyl was more polite. I just think Cristyl is, people pleaser. So she was going to say anything to make sure, she stays in Kira's good graces, even though she was just as wrong as Robin was. And still to this day, we don't know why Cristyl unfollowed Kira. At least we know Robin unfollowed her because of the quote-unquote algorithm thing, which sounds crazy coming from Robin, because, Robin is a little crazy. But what I think Robin means is she wasn't really that close with Kira and only knew her through social media. But because they followed each other, Kira pictures were probably popping up on Robin's profile more than other people, being that Kira, is a popular person on social media. And that happens a lot, and I can't stand it. IG would definitely show you something from a popular person page they posted a week ago, but won't show you a picture of, your cousin's newborn baby that was posted the same day you are scrolling on Instagram. It's so weird, and I hate it. And clearly so does Robin, which is probably why she unfollowed Kira. So then Kira went on to say that what made her the most upset was when Robin told her, if it wasn't up to me, you wouldn't be here anyways. Now, I don't remember Robin saying it, but that was like 3-4 episodes ago, so of course I wouldn't. But if Kira is hovering over those words from Robin, then I believe she said it. And Kira said she doesn't want to be associated with someone that doesn't want her around. And I totally get that, Kira. She ain't wrong feeling that way. So Robin told Kira that she didn't understand the impact of Instagram and why Kira felt so strongly about it. Now, I can't believe that Robin was confused on why Kira was so upset about being unfollowed, because she is older and she says she's not really, a social media person. So I believe that part, And Robin even told Kira she had to talk to a younger group of people to understand how serious social media is. And they gave her, the rundown. So now she understands Kira's reaction. But what I need Robin to work on is learning how to stop dismissing people's feelings when she feels like a problem is over, because that is very one-sided. And just because you, Robin, wants to move on doesn't mean the issue is resolved. But in the end, Robin asked for Kira's forgiveness, and Kira said of course she forgives Robin. I always felt like once Kira and Robin actually sat down and talked, they were going to, squash the problems they had, because it was so petty, like overly petty. And for that reason, I have to say how disappointing it was seeing Kira talk so bad and down on Robin every chance she got, as if she wasn't going to forgive her as soon as she got an apology or sorry, tongue twisted, apology from Robin. Now listen, Robin kills me, because the moment you revive, she goes and flip out. So once she asked for forgiveness from Kira, and Kira says she forgives her because she is a God-fearing woman. Yeah, okay. Robin flipped the script and got loud, telling Kira how she was hurt too. And basically she needs an apology too, because during that night, Kira was not showing how God-fearing she was. And it's like, Robin, please let it go. Y'all were doing so good. But baby, shout out to the editing crew, because they showed us how Kira told Robin she would hit her in the throat if she didn't think she would have a seizure or something like that. Now we know Kira was going in on Robin, but baby, we missed that little bar right there, okay? But see, just like Cristyl, Kira has a tendency to play victim when it comes to Robin. But like I said before, none of these ladies are victims. They are all wrong in their actions, period. So yes, Robin needed to apologize to Kira, but Kira needs to apologize as well. And they all need to just move on from that damn day. God. But moving on, can I just say yes, finally, we are seeing some property, and shout out to Tiana for that. So in this episode, we see a $2 million and some change home being shown by Tiana to this retired NFL player. Now, of course, we have seen some of the ladies showing up a home or a condo, or apartment, a penthouse, whatever. But I think this is the first time the editors actually gave us more viewings of the property and not so much a little glimpse of the, the place, like little here and there. And I definitely appreciated that. Now, during the showing of the home, the guy was loving it, and he had he had little tidbits about the home and the area and why it would be a great place for him. And Tiana was saying that she could tell that he wanted it. And eventually he did call her up to talk about it and tell her he wanted it. It's just he wanted it for way cheaper than the original asking price, which is around $2.7 million. But he wants it for $1.9 million. And once again, this is why I cannot do real estate, because I would have hung up with him. Sir, that is an $800,000 difference, and that just would not work. So Tiana said that she will find something else for him in his price range, and they, ended the discussion there. Now, when Tiana got off the phone with the potential buyer, she decided to call the lady who owns the home and put it on, she put it on the market for her. Now, Tiana been said that the home had been on the market for almost like 40 days. And when that happens, people will start to think something is wrong with the home. But it isn't nothing wrong with this home. It's just people aren't budging on buying it for that price. So Tiana's advice to the lady was that she should go down on the price, which the lady didn't mind. So they went down like $50,000. Now that we have finally got some real estate content in this real estate show, thanks to Tiana, we move on to a scene with Kira and Cristyl meeting up. I just think it's so funny how Cristyl and Kira are getting so close, when Kira was very vocal about how she didn't care for Cristyl after Cristyl pretended that she didn't know who Kira was at that Kanye West event. I ain't forget. I just cannot let that go, because I feel like Kira brought it up to the group of girls, but never brought it up to Cristyl. But whatever, child. I guess they are, buddy-buddy now. Whatever. So while they are out together, Cristyl was talking about how they both just got out of a long serious relationship, but now they are dating around, of course, because what else are you doing? Then Cristyl brings up how she went out with this dude who she said she was in a relationship with in middle school, child. A joke. But they reconnected later on in life, and recently she went out with this guy and realized how much she liked him and connected with him. And he asked her if she would consider being in a polyamorous relationship. So because Cristyl feels connected with this guy, she is considering not so much being in a poly relationship, but going to a poly party to see what that lifestyle is all about. And she basically wants Kira to go with her. Baby, Cristyl is out here single and ready to mingle and is willing to try it all. And I ain't mad at it. Go ahead and live your life, girl. Now, Kira, on the other hand, is like, girl, that is not the journey I'm on right now, okay? I am on a fast. I'm talking to God. And going to a party isn't fit in my journey right now. And it isn't something that she wants to do at all, period. And baby, I'm with Kira because that is just too much. All the husbands and wives and girlfriends, boyfriends, cousins, aunties, like, it's a lot. So Kira says Cristyl had that experience all by herself. So moving on in the show, we finally get to see Quiana in action and see her real estate firm. And I just have to say, ugh, Quiana is everything and she knows it. But she doesn't come off cocky, and I just love that. But at her office, she is in a meeting with her agents and telling them how successful they have been doing, and because of it, she's going to throw a 1-year anniversary for the 1-year anniversary party for the firm. And this is a time for the ladies to live it up because, you know, she appreciates them. It's like, my God, she's just a fucking boss. Like, ugh, I love it. Side note, I do think Tiana and her real estate firm will do good on Netflix as part of the Selling Tampa, Selling Sunset franchise. And her firm can, you know, be the Selling Atlanta spinoff. You know, just throwing it out there. So let me stay on Quiana for a minute, because although many of us may look at her as this badass boss that got it going on, she is dealing with personal and private issues that many may not know about. But she is opening up, you know, on the show. With that being said, Quiana expresses how she wants to start a family with her husband, but they have been dealing with fertility issues. So they are seeing OBGYN. And Quiana lets the doctor know that she was once pregnant, but she didn't go through with the pregnancy. She also brought up how she started the IVF process with her husband and everything was going well, at least she thought. Well, her and Anthony, who is her husband, one day was going through the process of getting, you know, the ultrasound of her eggs, and the company she was using at the time called her up and asked her, you know, who was her sperm donor. Meaning they didn't have her husband semen, even though he went to them like 3 times to give it to him. And Anthony and Quiana was under the impression that his semen was frozen all this time and ready to be used. But it wasn't. Like, what the actual fuck? Like, excuse my language, but huh? How does that go unnoticed? Like, I don't know, man, I think she should have sued them. But because of the incident, her and her husband stopped the IVF process and the company gave them their money back. But it's like, what the fuck? There's not enough, because you are wasting my time and you are wasting my eggs. Quiana is 39 and her husband is 42, so they aren't trying to keep waiting around, and they shouldn't have to. They deserve a family. They work hard. So when the doctor was talking to her, she was telling her how time is ticking and that the best time for women to have a baby is before 28, because that is when we have, you know, the most eggs. But gee, how in the world can that be real? Most women are still trying to figure out their life, and it is so unfair for women who wants a family but rather wait to build up a wealthy world for themselves first are punished for waiting. This whole situation with Quiana is so sad, but so important to see, because many Black women are going through this, especially nowadays, because we are all trying to get to the baby for the baby. That's just what it is. Like, we're career driven at this point in time. It's just that, like, that's the downfall of it. But it's just so sad. But moving on in the show, now that we know that Quiana is about to be having, you know, the anniversary party, we know that all the ladies are going to be there. So that means this is going to be the first time that Robin and Cristyl meet face to face since the pitch dinner incident. So before the event, we get a scene with Cristyl and her father. Now off rip, I am digging Crystyl's dad just by the little things he is saying. For example, he was talking about some property he has in Atlanta, and Cristyl was asking him about the mortgage. And Pa said he don't got no mortgage. And the home was paid off because he basically don't do bills as far as that go. And then he added, that's how you are supposed to retire. Basically having income coming in, not having your income going out. And baby, that was a bar from Papa Kimbrough, okay? So moving on from that, Cristyl wanted to talk to him and get advice from him about the whole situation that happened with her and Robin. So of course she told her dad what happened from her perspective. And her dad said that, you know, she did all she could do to intervene. But Pa didn't see what we saw, because it was definitely more Cristyl could have done. And if we are being honest, Cristyl really wasn't doing much, but adding more fire to the hostility at that moment. But we are not going to get into that right now. I can't deal. So in her confessional, Cristyl was saying how she wants to get to the bottom of things and she wants to know where Robin's head at and if she is, apologetic. And her saying all of that sounds good, but it just sounds like BS, especially after Robin let it be known that she did reach out to Cristyl, but Cristyl didn't get back to her. So I don't know, Cristyl. Sounds like you are talking out the side of your neck. But to end off on an encouraging note, I can appreciate this daddy-daughter bonding moment Cristyl is having with her dad, since we rarely see it on reality TV. So I like that. But just how Cristyl had concerns about seeing Robin at Quiana party, Robin had the same concerns with seeing Cristyl. But Robin isn't the type to bask in it because she's always ready to move on from it. So of course she pushed all her personal drama to the side and dives right into her work. So that's when we get introduced to a new client of Robin named Tim, and Tim is trying to sell this loft. So Robin told him that she'll take on the listing, but she would sell it for $900,000, $1 million the most. And Tim was cool with that because at this point, I think Tim was just, ready to get out and leave that loft at this point. But anyways, moving on. It is another Quiana's Real Estate firm 1-year anniversary party. And of course, everyone is showing up ready to have a good time. So once everyone is there, Kira and Tiffani are bigging up Quiana on everything. And then Kira brought up how she, seen Cristyl, but she hasn't seen Robin. And then boom, Robin popped right on up in the circle. And Quiana told Robin that her and Cristyl need to, stay on the opposite sides of the room throughout the entire event. Because she doesn't want none of the, drama at her party. Baby, Quiana don't play and she ain't having it. Point blank, period. So Robin is like, child, I have on expensive shoes tonight. I am not trying to get into anything. So everyone was like, good. But then she goes around, come back and say, she does need to talk to Cristyl. And Quiana was like, well, it doesn't need, need to be talked about tonight. And Robin was like, no, it has to be tonight. And the only reason I feel like Robin was saying it is because she knew this was probably going to be the only time she can get Cristyl to talk to her, since they were at the same facility, and she was, she reached out to Cristyl once and Cristyl never responded, and they just not trying to communicate with each other. So eventually Cristyl came over to the group and she went to go tell Quiana congrats. But Robin was faced the opposite way, talking to Kira and Tiffani. So Tiffani and Kira were like, Cristyl right behind you. Like, Cristyl right behind you. So turn around and speak to her. And she did, and she burst out with this loud, awkward hi to Cristyl. And then Cristyl said hi and actually hugged her. Baby, I was confused, okay? Is y'all beefing or are y'all not? Because y'all haven't ironed out y'all differences and y'all already hugging. Well, at least Cristyl was hugging her, but she hugged back. So yeah, they are hugging. But I guess they best friends. That's what best friends do. Yeah, I guess. They ain't best friends, but act like they not best friends. Yeah, okay. So that's when Cristyl pulled Robin to the side for them to talk. I kid you not, they probably ain't say no more than 2 words. And them hugs they was giving out earlier turned into knives real quick. So of course things are about to go down, so we won't be able to see the full conversation until the next episode. But what I will say is that I feel like they are not going to be on the same page when they do have their talk based on the previews. I think Cristyl has her thoughts on how that night went, and Robin has her thoughts on how that night went. So I don't see them in it on a good note, but we shall see. So with that being said, I hope you all enjoyed my episode 5 review, and you already know what to do. Like this video, comment your thoughts on the show below, and last but certainly not least, subscribe and join the Queen, baby. Bye.